Let's finish it up. Let's finish up strong. So quick recap of just the first group, and then we're going to dive into this more right now, all right? So quick recap, the healing journey, right? The healing journey is something that we're all on. So we need to do more observing and less judging, more responding, less reacting, more self-love, less self-sabotage, more boundaries, less resentments, more inner peace, less outer chaos, more clarity, less confusion, more being, less doing, more faith, less fear. If you need it, you can take a picture of that, all right? So let's get into it. We're going to dive into a little bit more, all right? All right. Every one of us is on a healing journey, and what it looks like is unique for every single person. That's why I don't think you could tell someone whether they're doing this right or wrong. They might be doing it wrong because they ain't doing it the way you're doing it. That's just, that's about it, right? So to be on a journey means that we're traveling from one place to another. So the healing journey, we want to get from where we used to be to where we want to be. That's the healing journey. It's getting from one place to another, right? Whether that's going from fear to courage, living in the past to arriving in the moment, moving from self-doubt into fully trusting yourself on your path, and so on. Many people look at the word healing as moving from sickness to health. Do you guys look at the word healing like that? Going from sickness to health. Right? Till death do us part. The word healing comes from an old English term, I think it's pronounced Helen, meaning wholeness. So not going from sickness to health, becoming whole again. That's what healing is. We want to become whole again. Not going from sick to feeling better, because if we're not getting better, we might not feel like we're healing. But we're becoming whole again. Why? Because you're starting to feel your feelings. So you're starting to become whole again, right? It refers to the process of moving towards a desired wholeness. So what wholeness are you desiring? What is something that you would like to become? Very good. Stable. That's a wholeness, right? Independent. Very good. Very good. That's a wholeness, right? Relying on yourself, right? Very good. So, it refers to the process of moving towards a desired wholeness. This is not just as an individual. Listen, healing is not just for the individual, but it's for the collective. We bleed out on those around us when we have not healed. For instance, you'll see someone with a lot of anger issues. It means they have not healed from something. So in order to heal, it's not just for us, it's for the collective. In order to heal, you're going to have emotional intelligence. What's your definition of emotional intelligence? What does this sound like to you? If I'm intelligent in something, what does that mean I have? I have what in something? Knowledge. In order to get knowledge, what must I do?
The appropriate.
No, I got to study something, right? In order to be smart at it, right? You got to study it, right? So emotional intelligence is that you're smarter with your emotions. But it's not just individual. Listen, emotional intelligence refers to the ability to, 1, understand, 2, manage, and then express one's own emotions. This is the kicker, though. As well as recognize and respond appropriately to the emotions of others. So when we are starting to heal, we're able to deal with people better because we understand our emotions and what causes it. So now we have a better understanding of someone else's emotions and what's causing it. What's the difference between judgment and discernment? In your opinion? Judgment is what? Someone's doing something and then I'm doing what after they do that? If I'm judging them, what am I doing?
Forming an opinion about it.
And I'm giving them a label. Right? Remember we talked about negative thought patterns? Labeling? We label people based on their behavior. You want to know why? Because we're labeling ourselves based on our behavior. Discernment is that your behavior makes me want to know why.
An understanding of.
Judgment is your behavior is telling me why. There's a difference. They're angry because they don't give a fuck. That's what it is. Or, you know what? I wonder what made them angry. That's discernment. Discernment is us wanting to know what's causing the behavior. Judgment, someone's behavior is telling us who they are. You are not your behavior, and I am not my behavior. How do I know that? My behavior is different now than it was in 20 years in active addiction. So if you are truly your behavior, then you should not be able to get better. You should stay the person you are. If your behavior is definition of who you are. Your behavior is just an explanation of what's going on in your life. If you're doing better, that's an explanation that you're doing things better, better choices, you're asking for help. If your behavior is not changing, it's an explanation that we're choosing not to change. So, the ability to understand, manage, and express one's emotions as well as recognize and respond appropriately to others. So, wholeness is living a courageous life in the divine partnership. Wholeness is living a courageous life in a divine partnership. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the perseverance through it. So to be a courageous person means you're going to feel the fear, but the fear is now going to motivate you to keep going because you don't want to go back. That's courageous. For instance, someone going to war. They know they could die. They're scared. But they go to war anyway because they have courage. So to be courageous does not mean you don't feel fear. It's the opposite. You feel it, but you're able to go through it. So listen, wholeness is living a courageous life, a life in fear, but not giving up with divine partnership with whatever God you believe in. For me, it's Jesus. For me to become whole, I must be in a divine partnership with God. I am not going to be able to look at active addiction. Are we in a divine partnership with God? In active addiction, are we whole? No, we're isolated. We're broken. We're separate. We're separated from God. We're separated from reality. We're living in our own reality. We're separated from family. We're not whole in anything. We're shattered, if anything. Right? So wholeness is living a courageous life in the divine partnership of whatever higher power you believe in. It is knowing with every fiber of your being that you are being supported and guided at every moment. Let's say, look at your past. God was with me even though I didn't believe in him. God was looking out for me even though I was cursing him. How many of us should be dead? How many of us got things right now in our lives that we shouldn't? How many of us, and when I talk about things like that, I'm not talking about material. I got peace that I do not deserve the peace I have in my life right now. I do not deserve the love. I do not deserve the joy. I do not deserve the fruits of the Spirit based on who I used to be. Thank God that God is love. Is love. So he doesn't know anything more but to love. God's love is way stronger than his wrath. Way stronger than his wrath. You don't got to worry about his wrath if you're working in his love. We're so afraid of God punishing us. I'm curious, how much are you accepting God's love, though?
Thank you.
Because the more I accept God's love, the more I accept, God bless you, the more I accept his grace. The more I accept his grace, the more I receive his mercy. The more I receive his mercy, the more humble I am in understanding that I am getting things because he is love. Not because of anything that I'm doing. We live in a world that usually we're only loved on based on what we're doing for somebody. Right? So then we put God in that bracket. We think God's only going to love us when we're doing good. So when we're not doing good, we hide from God. Because we're not doing good. I say it all the time. When you go in the shower, you're dirty. That's why you're going in the shower. You're not going in the shower after the shower because you just got out of the shower. You're clean. When we go to God, when I go to Jesus, I go to him dirty. He cleans me. We put God in the bracket of human beings, and that's why we don't have an understanding of God. Read the Bible, and you'll get a better understanding of who God is. Or whatever God you believe in, I'm pretty sure there's a book that came with it. I don't know any spiritual journey that does not have a book attached to it to help you practice that journey.
Have you read the Bible out of the New Living Translation? The Recovery Bible?
Yes. It's the green one. Yeah, my friend, Pastor Ian, Restorations Recovery, he gives those out. Those are good. Those are good, especially for the green ones. Yeah, they're good for people in recovery. It correlates. Yes.
I just want to make sure that I'm not like trying to read it the way that I want to, where I'm like manipulating it.
Okay. But there's so many different translations, certain ones. Yeah, so that's good though. Check it out. You'll like it. So the path is not an easy one. The hardest walk creates the greatest destination. The Bible talks about the narrow road. Listen, living right is the narrow road. Doing what we want, when we want, how we want is what everybody does. That's the easy road. Have you noticed growing up, nobody had to teach you how to lie? Nobody had to teach you how to do things wrong? No. Do you want to know why? Because we're born into sin. We are naturally liars. Naturally. I can mess this up without even trying. What do I need to be taught? The right way to do things. Because obviously I don't know the right way to do it, because I've done 30 treatment facilities, 20 years of active addiction, 5150, 5250, and 5350. I don't know about y'all, I did the trifecta. So, the hardest walk creates the greatest destination, right? But what's most important about the healing journey is that you need to know that you are whole right now.
I have a question, Mike. Okay, so you know how you say if you're trying to read the Bible, read the Proverbs every day? Mm-hmm. So Charlie gave me a badass Bible, and that's what I've been doing. But say I want to read more out of the Bible, other than just that,
go to a gospel. Go to the book of John and learn about Jesus.
Okay. So
we should always be in a gospel.
So after Proverbs,
yeah,
John?
yeah. Okay. What I do is I read Proverbs in the morning, and then I read a book, a different scripture at night before I go to sleep. So Proverbs is wisdom. It's getting me ready for the day. At night, I like to read about Jesus before I go to sleep. Book of Romans is a very legalistic book. So when Paul was talking to the Romans were all about the law. So the book of Romans is very legalistic. Like it's like he's talking politics in a sense. But he's speaking to that group. Romans is, for me, is a very difficult book for me right now to read.
No, I know it's a different one, but it's like,
I was telling them,
it's just a one-year testament. It's like a one-year testament.
Understand, but that's where I
For
feel
you
like
to read.
No, that's where God needs you. That's where God needs you. If you're reading something in this book and it's making sense, you are doing nothing wrong. You are doing see how the enemy is trying to get you to not read something that's making sense by making you think that you're doing something different? Bro, homie, it doesn't take no time off. If you're reading part in this book and it's speaking to you, keep reading it.
What am I supposed to do with that? Because I don't want to just keep it to myself, because I feel like a lot of people can benefit from that, because I know for a fact that with me, when I first experienced the Holy Spirit and I saw the power that He has, perform creative miracles, using as a vessel like that.
Yeah.
I felt like I started living life walking on eggshells, because that was a real experience. So I'm like, oh shit, God is real.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, I'm trying to walk perfect, but then that book of Romans, I feel like I just received freedom.
Come on.
But you know what I mean?
So the way I was taught to evangelize is that when you're in a conversation with somebody, they're going to talk from the Spirit. People are going to tell you what they're going through, things like that. When they speak from their spirit, you connect to their spirit rather than tell them about God. Because that doesn't work. People don't want to hear about God. But when you're talking to them, right, and they tell you something, you'd be like, oh, you know what? What you're talking about, I read in the Bible, and this is what the Bible tells me. Maybe this will help you. So when the Bible says preach the gospel to all of creation, Jesus doesn't talk about being anonymous. Thank God Jesus was anonymous, right? So you'll know when to speak. Just pray on God. God, give me opportunities to tell the world about you. You'll know it's just going to come out of you. That's how true it is. It's just going to come out of you, right?
Okay, well, what if a situation as you try to get somebody to come in here to listen to the group?
Yeah.
but they say,
We were
I'm
just
not,
talking about
I'm
that.
not all about the God stuff.
That's fine.
What would you say to somebody, you know?
Take God out of it and just hear the message.
Yeah, you show them what.
That's what I usually tell people. I speak to a lot of non-believers. I spoke at Lifelines on Friday. And Lifelines, it's like 90 days or less. So a lot of them don't even want to do God yet. My message was, whatever God you believe in, Jesus or not, just hear the message though. Like, open up your heart, and now I'm going to give you my heart. Over 250 people called Jesus their higher power that night and came up to that stage.
It was awesome.
You know what I'm saying? But we throw the seeds. We were just talking about this. We throw the seeds, and God does what He wants with
I
the
didn't want to
seed.
be pushy about
Nah,
it.
and listen, I wasn't about God. You tell them, fine, that's fine. But you know what? You're more than welcome to just listen to the message. That's it. Sometimes our spirit is going to offend other people's demons. So it's not me, it's the spirit that lives within inside of us that gets people. Because I'm saying Jesus' name and that's bothering people. You don't even realize how close you are if the name Jesus is bothering you. You're closer to God than you think.
Yes.
Because if you didn't care about Jesus, the name Jesus, you just brush it off.
Yep.
But if someone talks about God and Jesus, they are closer to God than they think. That's why the enemy is getting them to leave.
Yes.
Because if they didn't care, they wouldn't care. They wouldn't. I'm not. That's what I've noticed anyway, right? But yes. So most importantly, in order to heal, you must understand that you are whole right now, without even changing a thing. So if you're whole without changing a thing, all we got to do is get better at being wholesome.
Continue to be
That's
whole.
it. Because remember I told you I watched that movie in Treatment, Dangerous Minds? She gave everybody an A on the first day of school.
Yeah.
And told them, don't lose it, just keep it. It was easier for them to keep something they thought they could never earn.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is, you already have it. Just don't lose it. Now go throughout your day and don't make choices that will make you lose what it is that you already have. We go throughout the day trying to get all the things so we can get it. So we get so much pressure and we overwhelm ourselves and we start procrastinating. I'm better at fucking this up than I am at getting it right. So since I'm better at messing it up, my mindset is just don't mess it up today, Mike. Just don't mess it up. Because that's easier for me, because when I'm walking into something, I start thinking of something. Yo, Mike, this is how we mess it up, bro. Get back on the other side of the board. Call somebody, right? We got to get ourselves in it. Reset. So, here we go. What is a healing journey? The term healing journey has a spiritual. For those that aren't spiritual, I will speak to the metaphysics as well. Because before I found God, I was a very logical person. Before I started walking with God, it was all about quotes, energy, frequency, vibrations, all of it. You'd be surprised how much of that is actually in this book, though. Right? So while the term healing has a spiritual and metaphysical context, we explore the emotional journey in the context of emotional well-being. So the healing journey needs to become emotional well-being. So what emotions lead you to doing the wrong thing? Do you know the emotions that lead you down the wrong path?
Hurt.
Okay, good. What else? Pain, good.
Love.
Say it again. Love, okay. Hopelessness. If you don't know the emotions that lead you to go to the drugs, how are you going to be able to get out of that emotion quicker before you use?
Exactly.
You're not going to be able to. You're going to use and then have to deal with that problem and not even deal with the real problem. It keeps happening. It's a cycle. Look at our lives. There's a cycle in your life. I don't need to know you. You have a repetitive cycle of something that just keeps happening over and over because we haven't healed from anything yet. Right? It's like not putting ointment or a bandage on a wound. It takes longer to heal than if we put a bandage on it. A lot of us aren't putting bandages on our wounds. So we're hurting. You got to find your bandage. You got to know what emotions take you out and stop ignoring them and think that just because we're not using those emotions ain't going to take us out. No. Those emotions are going to keep taking us out. Say it again? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. But at night, during the day, I cover it because of all the dirt and stuff. It could get infected. So you're right. We're both right. When do you give it air? I give it air when I'm sleeping. But good job. Well said. An emotional journey is a progression Emotional healing journey is a progression, meaning going from one place to another. It's a progression. From emotional distress to increased overall emotional well-being. All right? Healing journey can involve a variety of experiences, including feeling emotions, developing hope, and making new connections. So to be on the healing journey, we must feel our emotions. Sorry. Mentally strong people don't ignore their emotions. Mentally strong people feel them, and then they think realistically and rationally. So for instance, if you are afraid right now, realistically, what evidence do you have that you should really be afraid? Look at everything you survived. You think recovery's gonna fucking take you out? You think getting better and doing the work is gonna be worse for you? Because it's not. So what fear is it that we have? Fear of success? Fear of failure? What's your definition of success? And what's your definition of failure? That's why you might be afraid. My definition of failure is the path to success. And when I fail, I'm succeeding. My definition of success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm.
While we're on the topic, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead. No, never.
I'm quite old to not have ever understood the concept of fear of success.
Fear of success is me having to maintain something for the perception of others to make me feel like I'm actually doing it. So fear of success is me trying to keep up with what people think of me and one-upping myself every time I succeed. Because success is about do not conform the patterns of this world. Success in the world is what you get. To me, success is the work that it takes to get the things I want to get. So fear of success is maintaining something for a lifetime when we don't think we have the strength for a lifetime, which you don't. You don't have the strength today to get you through the rest of your life. But you do have the strength today to get through today, though. My pastor, I'm trying to quit cigarettes, right? So my pastor told me that in any given moment when you have temptation, you have the spiritual gifts to get through that moment. We don't through the moment because we don't think we have the spiritual gifts to beat it for the rest of our lives. So we let the future take out the present when we have everything we need to have in this moment to get through this moment. So the fear of success is maintaining. That's why I'm not in competition with myself. Some people use it. Hey, listen, if that works for you, work for it. I messed up a lot of times because I was in competition with myself. I'll tell you what I mean. Let's say I want to do better than I was yesterday. But yesterday I had a dope day and I got mad stuff done. I'm banging stuff out. Today I'm in competition with yesterday, so I must beat me from yesterday today. If I'm not able to do more today than I did yesterday, I actually feel defeated because I was in competition with myself. I'm not in competition with myself. I just try to get better today from the version I was yesterday. That's it. And sometimes in order to get better, it's just don't pick up and don't give up. I'm better than yesterday, no matter what happens throughout the day. I'm better than yesterday if I don't pick up and I don't give up. Because now that's another day. So be careful. So, emotional signs. Feeling emotions, no longer feeling tense. So here's some signs. Signs that you may notice that you're healing from trauma. First one. You begin feeling your emotions rather than minimizing them. We begin to feel our emotions rather than minimize them. Remember the negative thought pattern? Minimization. We take our big problems and things that really bother us and we minimize them. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. That's just like suppressing our feelings with drugs. It's the same difference. We're making something big small because maybe we don't want to be a burden or whatever it is. You're starting to heal when you're allowing yourself to feel and not minimizing it, validating it. Listen, you pissed off? Validate that you're pissed off. That's a real feeling. In order to heal, though, we're going to have to now process that feeling. We have to process it. So you begin feeling your emotions. You allow yourself to cry. Tears are raindrops to the eyes so the soul can see a rainbow. For us men out here, that alpha male shit is not reality. The alpha male shit sells on television. There's nothing in this book that tells me to be an alpha male. There's an alpha and an omega. That's God. That's Jesus, not me. When we try to be alpha males, we don't allow our emotions to be seen. So we hide our emotions. So then when we're alone, we're in trouble. And then as men, we feel the need to supply, take care of people, provide. So now we're providing for others, but nothing's being provided for us. So then we start getting resentments towards those in our life. You validate and more fully understand your emotions rather than to fix or try to get rid of them. Are you trying to fix your emotions or are you validating your emotions?
I'm trying to fix it.
Okay?
Now let's identify them first.
Yes. First you validate, right? Meaning, listen, what you're feeling is real. Don't run from what you're feeling. Process. Why are they so real, though? What has happened that's making this real? Because the reality that you're living in can be changed when you change your perception of what it is you went through. My reality changes based on how I understand what is happening to me. An active addiction, my perception is that everyone was out to get me. Nobody cared about me. So that was my perception. That perception gave me a reality that I cannot trust anybody. Today, that's totally different. I trust people today. Because my perception has changed. Because it's not happening to me. Everything is happening for me. That's the healing journey. What you went through is not for you. Sorry to say it. What you went through is for somebody else, so you could help them through the darkness, like somebody's helping you through your darkness today. That's what this is about, fellowship, not competition.
Every one of you can help save lives
Amen.
in their way.
So the first one is you begin feeling your emotions rather than minimizing them. The second one, you practice living mindfully rather than mindlessly. How mindful of you are your actions throughout the day? How mindful are we of our thoughts? Because it's not easy to be mindful of it all day long because we're living life and we got distractions. And it just happens. I'm not always mindful of what it is I'm doing. Right? What do you got?
Do you think about what you think about?
Do I think about what I think about? Yes, I do, because I'm an overthinker.
Think about what I think about.
You should be diligent with your thought life.
Yes. Take all your thoughts captive, the Bible says.
That's not a good thought. Get rid of it.
Yes. So practice living mindfully rather than mindlessly. Rather than doing things to distract yourself, rather than doing things to numb yourself, rather than doing things to keep busy, you start from a place of intention and value. What I mean is strive to be a value, not of success. So when we're living mindfully, we're all right, I'm going to go do this. If I do this, this is going to help me become this or get that. That's mindful. Living mindlessly is just waking up and going through the fucking motions of the day with no intention. Your steps got no intentions. You're just making steps. Do not mistake movement for progress. Just because you're moving throughout the day does not mean we're progressing.
So are you saying because lately I've been very mindful of like when I get angry or when I think bad thoughts, but I also don't know what's going to happen with us, but what I've been learning to do is come here, get all the value I can, go to the gym, take care of my body. I've been, planning meals, I've been journaling, I'm even doing shadow work. But I'm going through the day with a schedule now. And,
okay.
I just feel I don't know what the outcome is, but it's in God's hands. But as long as I show up and get all I can through what I'm doing and try to help other people, things are gonna work out for me.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's mindful. You're gonna get paid for that.
Yeah.
There's a paycheck that comes after work. Have you ever worked for an employer and not got paid?
Yeah.
Okay.
You still got my check.
How often did that happen though?
Not much.
So what I'm saying is when you worked, you got paid. When I put in the work as an addict, I got my drugs. Yep. Putting in work, you're going to get paid. When you get the paycheck from God is on his time, but his paycheck is way better than any paycheck an employer going to give you though.
A lot of time on probation. A lot of time.
So, rather than doing things to distract, numb, or keep busy, you start from a place of intention and value. So, your body releases tension and trauma. Our body wants to release tension and trauma. You know why I feel we struggle? This is why I think we struggle. I think we struggle because we're ready to move on. We're ready to get better. But we struggle because we're not willing to let go of some of the things we've done yet. So that's the struggle. The resistance of me wanting to move forward compared to the one behind me pulling me back. Because I can't let it go. So instead of letting it go, just let it be. It happened. There's nothing you could do about what happened. What's in our ability is what's gonna happen. I can't do anything about what happened. But I am in control on what's gonna happen, though.
Forgive others and yourself.
Amen. Forgiveness is an action before it's a feeling. For instance, maybe you don't feel like you've forgiven yourself for stuff yet. I tend to disagree. The fact that you're sitting in this room is already an indication you started to forgive yourself. Because I don't know about you, when I can't forgive myself, you ain't finding me in a place getting better. I'm out there getting high. So the fact that you chose to come here and get better, you already started to forgive yourself, meaning you're giving yourself an opportunity on how to get better. We think forgiveness needs to be a feeling, like we're going to wake up and we're going to feel forgiveness. To me, forgiveness is an action. Show yourself you forgive yourself by giving yourself the opportunity to learn something today. Show yourself that you forgive yourself, that you're going to actually stay this time and go through it the way it needs to go. Forgiveness is an action. Show yourself you forgive yourself by doing the right thing for yourself. What are you doing for your future self today? Or is the present self so focused on the past self? Learn how to love yourself so people can love us in the future. Stop doing some of the stupid choices we make today so we have a better opportunity in the future. What are you doing for your future self today? Because if you're not doing nothing for the future self, whoever you are today is going to be who you're going to be in the future. And that's just how it is. Nothing changes if nothing changes. We've heard it. Your body wants to release tension and trauma. All right? Signs that you're on a healing journey includes more self-awareness. How many people are aware of their behavior a little bit more today than they were in the past?
Hell yeah.
How many people are more aware of their behavior today than in the past? You're on the healing journey. You're on the healing journey because you're allowing yourself to be aware of it. When I'm not on the healing journey, as soon as it pops up in my head, I'm getting high to numb it. I bet there's things in your life today that you used to get high off Jump Street with that you're not today. That means you're healing. It means you're finding a better way to get through it. You might not feel like it, but you need to understand that winning doesn't feel like winning. Stop attaching a feeling to winning. Because listen, everything could go wrong for me today. If I make it through the day and I don't give up and I don't pick up, I won. I won. Winning doesn't always feel like winning. Self-awareness. You notice and understand your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors more deeply. That's the big key there. We understand our thoughts and our emotions, our behaviors more deeply. So what does that mean? If you're going deeper to your thoughts, deeper into your emotions, and deeper into your behavior, what does that mean to you? What does that sound like that means?
Trying to find what's wrong.
There you go. The underlying issue. So if I'm going deeper to my thoughts, I want to know where the thoughts are coming from. If I'm going deeper into my emotions, I want to know what's causing my feelings. If I'm going deeper into my behaviors, I want to see what it is that I do or what happens before and after my behavior. We're going deeper into it. You identify the source of your pain. Does anybody know where the source of their pain is coming from? Because it's not the drugs. Good. Anybody else? Grief. Good. Guilt. Good. Shame. Good. Does anybody know the source? Because if you don't know the source, we ain't got nothing. You dealing with symptoms. We just dealing with symptoms. Not being able to hold a job ain't the source of your problem. That's a symptom of your problem. Doing drugs is not the source of the problem. It's a symptom of the problem. Now, taking things personal is it's a symptom of the problem. Maybe when you were a kid, you got in trouble for every little thing you did. So now that's how we maneuver in life. Because we got in trouble for every little thing that we did.
Inadequacy.
Yes. So emotional regulation. So we know we're practicing the healing journey when we're more aware of our thoughts, our emotions, our behaviors, deeper, underline it. And we identify the source of the pain. So maybe you're angry right now, but what's causing your anger? Maybe you're frustrated right now. What's causing your frustration? Maybe you're irritated. What's causing the irritation? That's healing. Getting to the source of the problem. So we got the emotion. You identify the emotion. Now you got to go deeper. Instead of feeling the emotion, process the emotion. Because when I'm processing it, my mind actually shifts from the feeling to now a solution. Emotional regulation. You develop healthier coping mechanisms for managing emotions. Anybody practicing different coping mechanisms today instead of using drugs? You're on the healing journey. You're on it. You're doing it. You feel less anxiety and less intense and more manageable emotions and reactions to others. Anybody dealing with people a little bit better than they did in the past? You're on the healing journey. Emotional intelligence. See all these signs? If you don't know these signs, you might be thinking you ain't doing nothing right now. This is why I needed to teach myself on what something is, what it looked like, and how to practice it. That is what I did in treatment. What is emotional intelligence? What are the signs of emotional intelligence? And how do I practice emotional intelligence? That's all I kept Googling. What is focus? What are signs of focus? How do you practice focus? And that's all I kept 12 hours a day for 1 year. 1 year I spent 12 hours a day on myself. That 1 year has changed my whole life. Whole life. I'm living a life beyond my I'm living my destiny. Fuck a life beyond my wildest dreams. Live your destiny. That shit is way better than your dreams. When you live your destiny, what God has created you to become, shit. I ain't dreaming. I don't need to go to sleep to dream. I'm living this shit with my eyes wide open right now. And that's what happens. But it's the healing journey that we need to get on. Healing, not fixing. You can't fix your problems. You just can't. We need to heal from what caused the problems before we're going to find a solution through the problem. So emotional regularization, you develop, you feel less anxiety, so feeling more positive emotions. Anybody at times feel a little more positive than they did in active addiction? You're on the healing journey. You experience more moments of happiness, contentment, and excitement. You feel more calm and at peace. Anybody have a little more peace at times? You're on the healing journey. Other signs. You allow yourself to feel the emotions. Anybody getting high when they feel something they don't like today? You're on the healing journey if you're not getting high off every friggin' emotion anymore. You're healing. Why? Because you're feeling. You notice a decrease in chronic symptoms like chronic fatigue and pain. Anybody got more energy than they used to?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You're on the healing journey. Because energy is what? Stamina. How do we produce stamina? Endurance. What is endurance? Being able to endure. The more I can endure my feelings, the more stamina I have when I have that feeling to not give up. I say it all the time, marathon. People need to endure pain so they have stamina to run the race. This is what? They call it a marathon. When people run a marathon, have you ever watched a marathon before? Have you ever seen somebody fall? Funny as hell, but have you ever seen somebody fall? When they fall, what happens when they get back up? They don't go to the starting line. They get up from where they fell. So stop thinking you're starting over and starting from experience. If you had years in the past, start from where that person was and that mistake and keep going. Who cares about the days? Let's be honest. Who cares about how many days you could tell people? I'd rather be living my best life today than be able to tell you I got 10 years. Pick up where you left off. If you had success on this walk, go back to that person where that person made a mistake, learn from it, and keep going. So what if your days start over? Big fucking deal. You think God's caring about clean days? You think God cares about that? No. What are you doing today? That's what's defining you. I know people with 20 years that do not have the recovery that you guys got right now. Sober body doesn't equal a sober mind. I can fuck this shit up sober real quick. I don't know about you. I don't need drugs to mess my life up. A sober body does not equal a sober mind. So just because we're not using doesn't mean that our mind's getting better if we ain't practicing the healing journey.
Clean and sober are different.
Yes, sober is just the absence of a substance. Recovery is to become to a normal state of mind and body. I cannot do the drugs and not be in recovery. I'm telling you, how many times I walk into treatment and leave the same person that walked in, but I had 6 months getting high within a week, but I had 6 months. T-I-M-E, time, things I must earn. You got to earn this. More than just not using. You need more than that. Because using ain't your problem. There was a problem before we started doing drugs, y'all. A big problem. That's where the healing needs to start occurring. Whatever it was that happened into our lives that led us to wanting to numb it with drugs. That's where we need to start healing. Because you're never going to really be able to have success on this path until we learn how to heal. You'll have moments of success like accolades. You won't have true success like joy and peace and goodness and faithfulness and all the things that come with the fruit of the Spirit. Other signs you notice the decrease are you accept yourself as a valuable person. Anybody seeing themselves a little bit more valuable than they did in active addiction? You're on the healing journey. You acknowledge the presence of trauma and the impact of your life. Are you guys starting to see that your past had a huge influence on who it was that you became an active addiction? You're on the healing journey. When you see the impact, not blaming it, not saying it happened because of that, but you're recognizing the impact it had on your life and what we did with that. Not blaming. Understanding the impact is understanding what it did to our lives. We're not blaming people that did it, but we're allowing ourselves to see the impact of, like I felt abandoned because my parents never came to anything that I did. Sports, school, I was a hella athlete, hella student. Awards, traveling, pitching championship games in front of 5,000 people. Everybody's parents there, but not mine. I love my parents. Just wasn't something that they did. So I blame them. I blame them for why I became who I became. I started manipulating and lying because I had to get you to like me with lies so you would show up to my things and make me feel important. I blame my parents for that mindset. Healing is a process that can cause a chain reaction that spurs improvement in all areas of life. So it's essential not to rush this process.
Can I read something?
Go ahead, read it.
I mean, this is why I wrote, and I'll put this in. It's like never forget. It's like David waited 15 years. Joshua waited 22 years. Moses waited 40 years. If God is making you wait, then wait. And he's preparing you for what he has in store for you. God's timing is always the best. Very soon you will smile. This is my writing in my book, though, y'all.
Yeah.
This February, you will carry not because someone hurts you, but because God answers your prayers if you trust his timing.
Amen.
I mean, you gotta trust his timing.
What you got?
I resonated with that a lot. My birthday is the 22nd of February.
The 22nd of February? Okay. Yeah, he read that. That was my man right here.
Yeah, it'll be 40 years in like 2 years.
Come on.
What?
Come on.
I mean, so.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody, if you know the story of Abraham, God promised him a son. He was about 80-something years old. I don't know, I think God forgot me. So his wife gave the great idea, why don't you just go have sex with the maid? So he had sex with the maid. They had a baby. Baby was called Ishmael, but it wasn't God's gift. So if anyone knows about the wars that are going on in Palestine, that's where it started. God, that wasn't the gift from God. God gave him Isaac, though, at over 100 years old.
You know, and I like that he still, I was reading that again. And
Yeah.
I like how he still was looking out for Ishmael too, though. Like,
Yes.
He did. Like, that was fair, because at first I was like, that's about that. But then I'm like, I read more about that story, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like,
God's always
Not
looked.
everybody,
He is love.
Yeah.
That's why it's beyond our It's beyond. Listen, you know when it's gonna make sense? When you're with Jesus. All of this is gonna make sense when you're with God. Until then, stop trying to make it make sense and just read this, and it'll make whatever sense it needs to. I'm on a need-to-know basis with God. Need-to-know basis. Everything that I need to know, God is giving me right now. Everything that I need to know, I have. Sometimes I need to know more. And when I need to know more, that's when I get in trouble. You know what you need to know right now. You know what you need to practice. I procrastinate because it's not impressive, some of these things that we need to do, right? So real quick, you're healing when you're starting to have compassion for yourself. The Latin root of compassion means to co-suffer. So in order to have compassion with yourself, you need to suffer with yourself. What I mean is, the present you needs to suffer with the past you, where you become one rather than two. Are you looking at the past you as a totally different person? Or do you have compassion that that person did whatever they could do to get through the moment? Do you respect that person? Do you love that person? How are you speaking to that person? Because the past you, whether you like it or not, is still us. So if you are looking at the past you with resentment, you are a house divided cannot stand. If you are not connected with the past you in a way that you could grow, you are divided. And the enemy has no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. So I'm going to tell you what the enemy does in my life. The enemy makes me look at my past in a certain way in the present. For instance, shame. The enemy can make me look down on myself today based on my past. Do you know what the enemy does without even needing to know it? He takes away our tomorrow by how he gets us look at our past. Because if we look at our past in a negative way in the present and do nothing about it, he's taking away tomorrow because we're not doing anything about it. So your past, we aren't meant to look at it in a negative way. We're meant to look at it in a learning way. As a student, my greatest teacher is the past me. I learned so much from the addict version of me. So much. I learned my mistakes, my failures, how I overreact, who I should hang out with, who I shouldn't hang out with. When I'm trying to make money this way, it's no good. When I'm striving for these things, it's no good. I see my intentions were wrong with this. That's why I got that. My past self is my greatest teacher. At the end of the day, I don't need anyone to teach me about life. Just learn from the past and you will survive just fine. If you're starting to establish boundaries, you're beginning to heal. You're beginning to heal if you're starting to set boundaries. If you're accepting that the traumatic event happened. So listen, we've had trauma happen to us. What we live with is not the event. What we live with is the experience we got from the event when it happened. So let's say I was 12 years old and something happened to me, a very traumatic event, and I relive it in the moment. I'm reliving it as if I'm Mike, the 12-year-old, while I'm 41. So I'm reliving it. So it's the experience that keeps taking us out, not the actual event. So we need to learn how to change the experience. Once you start healing, you change the experience. You start to have empathy for the people that have done things for you. You start to see your role in it. You start to accept that it's my choice to make it better now. There's so much in there. So much growth.
So in the sense we didn't grow, we just got older.
That's it. And we keep reliving it as if it happened right now. So we're not giving ourselves an opportunity to be able to grow from it because we're still acting like it just happened to us rather than it did happen and I'm feeling this again, but now I got to go back to that experience and change my perspective of what was going on.
Think it better.
Because when I'm going to be honest, the shit that was taking me out, I've done 10 times worse to other people than it was done to me
Yep.
in my life. That's just me. Everyone's life is different. But when I look back, I've done way worse to people that was done to me.
Yep.
That made me just get humble. I'm like, yo, I'm holding these people accountable. I started praying for the people that I've done things to. That helped me heal. Changes in health of body, if you're starting to work out or take care of yourself or like the way you look and putting on makeup, you're starting to heal. Look at active addiction. We don't give a fuck what we look like. I don't know about you. I was tore up. I was tore up. Tore up. Tore up. Tore up. Now, I can't leave my house without taking a shower. Back in the day, I had to convince myself that I needed a shower.
Yeah.
Like, yo, Mike, you need to get in the shower, bro, because if we smelling ourselves, that
Exactly.
means we bad. If you can smell yourself, it's too late. It's too late. But that's what I'm saying. You guys are doing it. Like, you guys are making it happen for yourselves. You guys are starting to heal. You're finding new ways of living. The enemy makes us put success on results when God's success is in the relationship with him. That's it. The relationship with him. He really does the work. And when I first started hearing that, before I believed in God, you're like, nah, man. It doesn't make sense. How is God going to do the work? I got to do the work. And then it's crazy. I start reading the Bible. I become a preacher, pastor. And I'm really starting to see that God is doing the work. He's doing the work. I have to show up for him. There's things that he requires from me. Repentance and prayer.
Yep.
That's what's required of me. I must repent, say I'm sorry, thank you for your grace and mercy, help me through this. And pray. If I'm not doing those two things, God can't do nothing for me. God can't answer prayers if you ain't praying to him, by the way. He knows what we need, but he's a gentleman. He's going to make you ask. He's going to make you invite him into your house. He ain't going to just walk in because he's God.
But
No.
sometimes when you ask for something, he may know that that's not what you need.
Yes.
He may give you what you need.
Delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart.
Yeah.
The more you walk with God, the more you start getting things you thought you never even knew you liked or wanted. You're like, yo, I didn't even know I would like this stuff. For instance, my dream was not to become a pastor. I'm telling you that right now. That was not my dream when I moved to Cali. That wasn't even my dream a year ago. Today, it's all I ever want to do. So what I'm saying is, delight yourself in the Lord. He's going to give you the desires of your heart. You might not get the Lamborghini, but you will get something that will satisfy you way more than that Lamborghini
Exactly.
ever could.
Something that'll get you further and further.
So once you really start getting the momentum of walking with God, oh, it's beautiful. Doesn't mean you're not going to struggle, but it's beautiful because you know that the struggle's for a purpose and prosperity comes after suffering, not before it. Look at Job. Job became prosperous because he had it all. God took it away and then gave him back double. So the prosper was getting the double, but he only was able to prosper because he suffered. But what it was is how he suffered determined how much he got to prosper. He never cursed God. The Lord give it, the Lord take it. I came in this world naked, I'm going to leave this world naked. It's how his relationship with God while he was suffering allowed him to prosper. So while you're suffering, what's your relationship with God looking like?
Can I ask you
Being grateful.
Go ahead.
what's your take on 10%?
10%?
Yeah.
I think it's a must. You talking about tithing?
Yeah, but like, what if you think you're somewhere that's not like,
Genuine about
that's
it.
not genuine?
So the tithing to the church or you tithing to the preacher?
To the church, but is it really going to the church? That's what I'm just saying.
Yes, but I hear you. I think the tithing is more. Yeah, no, I'm with you. How I would see it is
from the heart, right?
I'm giving it to God. What that person does with the money, they got to deal with God on that end. right? So I'm still gonna tie to the church. If they're not doing the right thing with the money, it's the heart that God's seeing, right?
Why don't you just go give it to people that you know need?
Or you could do that. If you don't want to give it to the church, go buy a meal for a homeless person. But the church is what God's chosen to do his work. Every church has its... I'm human, right? I'm a preacher. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have my problems, right? I have my stuff that I need to work on. But yeah, tithing should be that you're giving it to God, and whatever they do with that money is between them and God.
Most churches is going to build their church, and they're going to build their church.
Yeah.
And they got an old church, they're going to build up.
Yeah. So there's a story in the Bible. There's a story in the Bible where a gentleman comes and he's mega rich. He gives this crazy large tithing to the church. And then a woman comes, and all she has is 2 pennies, and she puts that in. Jesus said her gift is a larger gift to the kingdom than the other guy. God wants to see how much you're giving from what you don't have, rather than how much you're giving from what you do have. So God is more pleased with human responses that reflect his image than if you win $1 million and you go give $50,000 to a school. That's easy.
I keep $1 at my door, and every time I go to work, I get off the section, and there's always different people. But
There you go.
Somebody right there, you know?
There you go.
Every time I go to work, yeah.
I'm the same way.
I just feel like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't feel comfortable doing it, don't do it. But do it. Put it somewhere else. I'll give you my Cash App. You can tie to my church. Yeah, that's a donation. So, yeah, but good question, because a lot of people are hesitant to give to the church because of that, right? So, if you're feeling more, has anyone's relationships improved?
Yeah.
Healing journey. You're on the healing journey, because when I'm not healing, none of my relationships are actually getting worse, right? You're feeling your emotions, you're healing. Your healthier relationships, you're healing. Your increased emotional regulation, you're healing, right? Where we at with time? All right. Any questions? So real quick, just a breakdown. You could Google, what is the healing journey? You could Google, what does a healing journey look like? And then you could Google how to practice the healing journey. You will find everything you need to find. I do that with everything that I need to learn. I first want to know how it's defined. Then I want to know how it looks. And then I want to know how to practice it. It's what I've been doing for a couple of years now, and it helps me tremendously. I go to University of Google. I told you guys that. I'm their #1 student, right? So basically we touched on everything. Just remember, healing doesn't mean that the pain never existed. It means that the damage no longer controls your life. Active addiction happened. But whatever happened in active addiction can no longer control your life today. That's how you know you're healing. I did a lot of dirt, probably just like all y'all. Listen, for 20 years, I was not a good person. You just seen a version that I don't even know. I'm telling you that right now. I don't even know this version of me. We've all been there. I don't know why God has chose me. He should have chose somebody else based on behavior, but he chose me. What I'm saying is we can no longer let our past define who we are as people. What defines us as people is what we do today. So I don't care what you did yesterday. Let's say you got high and you're hiding it from everybody. I don't care. If you're doing something about it today to get better, you're Gucci with me, man. What you do today is what defines us as people. What was done yesterday is just an explanation of something. So make today the best day. What do you got?
I'm trying to figure out how I want to script no wrong scripture. It's like...
Paraphrase it.